important, and it's wonderful people can go out and work at it. And now our October theme is going further. So that's a pretty exciting subject for all of October to think about. And our Growing Spirit Circle for our children. Are you interested, Haley, in coming up with Granny Tress? You can look at Granny Tress. Does that work? Okay, assertiveness. And look at this assertiveness coming right up here, right on cue. And assertiveness. What does that mean to you?
It means being kind and not telling people how you feel when they're being mean to you. You say in a very nice way.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I think I'd love to have you as a friend all the time. Yeah. Being assertive means to be positive and confident, just like you were when you marched up here. It means knowing that you are a worthwhile person created by God, and you are a worthwhile person created by God, as is everyone here. When you are assertive, you think for yourself. You show the strength to do what you know is right. And now we all say together, I am assertive and I get the job done. I am assertive and I get the job done. Yay, thank you. That's an excellent job. That's my favorite part of the introduction. On our children, our future. Now, if you would please repeat with me our opening affirmation. It is on our green sheet. And it is, right now I make the choice to enter into a greater experience of life. I open myself to a flow of all good from the infinite source. Health, abundance, and loving relationships enrich my life, and I enrich my world simply by living the truth of my own divinity. I am one with God, and so it is. And I also want to remind you, we have the Science of Mind magazine for sale. It's at the back. And every single day this month, it is out of one of the books of Dr. Ernest Holmes. And we study Dr. Ernest Holmes. He's a very wise man, and I would recommend that you purchase this book. It is really worth it. Now, dun, 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 dun. We have someone here that's going to talk about we, me, going further together. And who else could put that together but our own mountain man, Reverend Douglas Craig? You're on.
How's that? We're good. Oh, okay. So, anyhow, back to this part. The opening affirmation said, I make the choice to enter into a greater experience of life. I make the choice to enter into a greater experience of life. Is everybody ready to do that? Okay, well, I have a few things here for you that'll help you along the way. Some of which you'll really like and some of which you won't. And the ones that I invite you to take care of the attention of the ones that you don't particularly care for today, make a note of them because those are the ones you need to work on. Okay, well, the talk is we, me, but it's actually not we, me. There's a symbol in the we, me. So it's we is greater than me. Okay? So that's what I'm going to talk about. We is greater than me, going further together. And one of the real neat things when I first got involved with this, what we talked about is concepts of mastermind groups or practitioner and client relationships. And the basic premises here at the physics level is the combined energy of two individual people coming together to do something creates a big third energy, which is far greater than the individual energy. So energies combined creates more power. Just remember that. It really helps to make sure you are careful about who you hang around with. One of my goals, and one of our goals, is to eliminate spending time with toxic people in our lives. Try that one on for size, eh? Because that doesn't mean you get to say, oh, well, they're family. Oh, no, they're friends. No, toxic people, period. Don't matter where they come from. So as we free ourselves from that toxicity, we free ourselves from our toxicity within us and the influence from outside. So anyhow, to get us going in the right frame of mind, let us just take an opportunity to go within for a moment, to that secret place of the Most High, and know that there is one eternal life that is forever giving of itself, and that's God's life, our life, right here and right now. And I know for myself, as I know for each one here, that we stand whole, perfect, and complete individually, and we have a willingness to bring our uniqueness in cooperation, in harmony, and in conjunction with all others whom we come about and meet in our journey of life, no matter where they are on their journey or what they're doing. They're all there for us to be able to, as Ernest Holmes said, love everybody. And if you haven't done this, begin to do so at once, to the best of our ability. And we accept this idea of building community and the willingness to bring who and what we are to this idea of community. So let's just take a few moments to contemplate how we grow together in the communities that we associate with today. Knowing that as we collaborate and participate with each other in positive and constructive ways, we create positive and constructive experiences, events, relationships, and collaboration with other people, bringing greater goodness to the community as a whole, to our world as a whole, and our planet as a whole. For our uniqueness is valuable, and we each value our own uniqueness, and we're willing to share the highest and best that we got in a constructive way, in a positive group, in positive situations. So knowing that we are willing to participate, we know that goodness comes to us and opportunities come to us to experience the highest and best that we are, which out pictures in a lot of wonderful experiences and relationships and events in our lives. So we accept that we're worthy of this. We give thanks for it. We know it is now so. And so it is. Dr. Holmes said, if we do not merge with others in cooperation, in unity, and in happiness, we may be certain that there is something in us that still feels that it has been rebuffed. Eric Butterworth said, in the flow of love, you will tend to see and respond to the divinity in all persons. And Gary Zukav said, when you release the wants of your personality in order to accommodate and encourage another's growth, you attune yourself to that person's soul. And so, what it's really about is recognizing the fact that as an individual, we can do and accomplish a lot. In fact, I remember the days when my philosophy was I didn't need anybody. I'd do it myself. I had quite an attitude about that. And when anybody said, oh, you're not going to be able to do that, I had this I'll show you attitude with a few other phrases that went with it. I'll leave that to your vivid imagination. And that served me for a while to get me to a certain level. And then that attitude became a ceiling that restricted and limited me in my growth and where I could go with who and what I was. So, stepping beyond that, I began to accept and work with other people in cooperation and in harmony with them, and created a lot of good experiences for myself. I couldn't be here having this experience for myself that I really enjoy if I didn't have you here or out there. I can't do that. Because I talk to myself. Does anybody else here? Sometimes I even listen. And gee, it's not nearly as entertaining as being in a group setting. So we all have a need for each other in one way or another. And how we make the world grow into a place where there's peace, prosperity, fulfillment, and happiness is developing it inside of ourselves and inside of the places, inside of our groups, inside of our circles, inside of our teams. So, first thing, there is no I in team. Ever heard that one? Vince Lombardi said, individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, and a civilization work. Vince Lombardi, by the way, was one of the most well-respected and still esteemed scholars of football in North America. In fact, the Super Bowl trophy is called the Lombardi Trophy. Okay? So that was a man that just didn't say those words. He actually lived those words with his team, with his community, with everything, because he believed in that idea. And the idea is about team, the word team. You don't find any I in team, but you do find an E. And that's for everyone. And so that's the idea of coming together. That's what team's about for whatever reason. Actually, I got to be quite honest with you. I've been involved in a lot of teamwork over the years and all kinds of different teams. And I was involved in teamwork before I made my transition into this way of living and doing things. Because when I was in that other life, I worked with teams too. And that is what gave me power and control. Having a team that stood with me and backed me up. You have no idea how much power and control that you can gain from a team. I'm talking about negatively here, but it works that way. But it also works the other way if you've got a really good team, how much power and control that you can have over circumstances and situations. But that only comes from within and from within the team. Teamwork rules. I got a few rules here. I'm not going to give you any detail on them. They're self-explanatory. So how teamwork works is it's like a coming together in the beginning, and keeping together is progress, and working together is success. So the team rules that I found were, number one, never give up. Never give up. Sometimes you're working on a project and you know that you've got to a point where it's complete and there's no further going on, so you pack it. But you got to watch that. Never give up. Believe in yourself. That's one that we got to really cultivate, is believing in ourselves. Always give your best. Show up. Put your best foot forward. Step into it. Think positive. Focus. Be focused. Remember our first course I ever took with Keogh in 1979, actually. He said in there, concentrated forces or thoughts are concentrated forces. Scattered thoughts are scattered forces. I always remembered that because it's right on the money, right? Always encourage and dream big. Dream big. Another point here. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And so one of the things that this revolves around is about being of service. And to know that if we look at being of service and take care of our community and take care of the needs of the many, it'll outweigh our own needs, but it will enrich us beyond powerful belief. And that quote actually comes from Spock in The Wrath of Khan. And he said, logically, clearly dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And Captain Kirk answers, or the one. Okay? So it always does. And that was in a particular situation where his life was going to be over if they didn't come into this particularly terrible situation and rescue him. And to Spock, it wasn't worth the risk that was there. And so that's where that come from. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few and the needs of the one. So we need to look at that in the bigger picture. And that's not saying that we have to put ourselves second, because that's not what we're doing. You got to hear it. By doing that, we're putting ourselves first. Okay? You're putting yourself first when you look at servicing and helping other people with their needs. And you know, it's doing a lot of things that you don't have to do, and you get really a great reward. I just finished 7 months. In the last 7 months, I've had the opportunity to go hiking in the Rockies for 54 days. I've helped 7 different people get vehicles in the family, and I've helped sell 2 houses and buy one. Just finished that up. All with the knowledge and the abilities that I had. Did I do a lot of work? Well, no, not really. I just used connections that I had. But I guess that's work, eh? And I was serving. I didn't have to do it for anybody except for myself. Well, Anna, I guess, too. I had to do her, so. You know, you've got to include Anna. And it's just amazing how good I felt from being able to do that for them. And the needs of the many outweigh the need of the one. Well, what did I have to sacrifice and give up? I had to give up my most precious commodity right now at this stage of my life. It's called time. I'm very careful what I do with my time because I know the clock's ticking. Okay? And so when we do that, we've got to experience that gratitude that goes with it. So this is the last idea. It's a little extensive, but I think you might like it. Well, it's the last point, then I got some steps here. But So when we're talking teamwork, we could use a lot of different examples in our society. And we could use a lot of examples in the animal kingdom. Like a couple of my favorites are wolf packs and geese, flocks of geese. They have an order and an integrity in the way they go about doing things that they couldn't have individually. It's their community that does that. And we could learn a lot from them. But I selected another one to talk about today that we usually don't talk about. I'm going to talk about crabs. And this part's called Beware of the Crab Mentality. And so what's the crab mentality? It's a way of thinking best described by the phrase, if I can't have it, neither can you. And what happens is if you put a crab in a bucket by itself, it'll crawl out. But if you put a bunch of crabs in the bucket, they'll all perish. Because as soon as one climbs up, another one will climb up out and drag it back into the bucket. So they drag each other back into the bucket. No teamwork there, you got that? And they all perish. So the crab mentality is that someone that if I can't have it, neither can you. Or it may be a narcissistic individual personality. It's all about me. Or a drug addict. Okay, because it's all about me. Drug addict's all about me. I don't care anything about their background. That's the bottom line. Case closed, okay? So, and that's the problem, eh? When you get a bunch of crabs in the pail, it's not about we, it's all about me. And so what happens is they perish. A blog here from a guy called Omar Itani, really good blog. I really liked what he had to say. He said the crab mentality exists. It manifests in people with a fixed mindset who are not willing to expand the boundaries of their thinking or to look beyond their self-constructed ego. That pretty sums up those qualities I was talking about. They're dissatisfied with their current circumstances, but don't accept that they have a choice or the ability to create in life what they truly want. And whether it's due to fear, insecurity, excuse-making, bad habits, limiting beliefs, or a lack of motivation, or any other thing you could put in there, they struggle to accept the notion that anyone can make positive change happen for themselves. So when we have the crab mentality, that's where we are. And all we're going to do is drag everybody and everything down around us and get drugged down ourselves into a pit of misery. Now you might be saying, well, I don't feel like that's me, but I did recognize myself. Anybody recognize themselves in those things I was talking about? Just a bit? You don't have to say, but you know, we know we do. However, we're moving away from that, okay? So that's a really good thing to move away from. And the last thing here is building and maintaining a mindset of a growth and abundance. Plato said, never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. We know we can tell people when they could get things done a little bit better or move along. I just went through this with the house sale and the house move. They could, and I could have done it, but I facilitated them and the way they needed to do it and got it happen. They were talking about selling their place and moving for 3 or 4 years. And they were talking to my brother and going back and forth and things like that. And then one day my brother said to him in April, are you really serious? Because you've got to make certain you are, because I'm going to get Doug involved. And if I get him involved, it'll happen real quick. They said, yeah, we're ready. She said, are you sure? So I did, and that was April, and they got it all sold and moved in. Boy, did they ever get good deals on both ends. I love it. It was great. But I've got a reputation for not sitting around talking about it or contemplating. Let's just, if you want to do it, let's do it and get it done. Well, what happens if that happens? What happens if that? Well, we'll deal with it when it comes. Eh? So here's the rules for building and maintaining a mindset of growth within inside of ourselves, and that helps us bring together everybody else in our lives. Number one, push, don't pull, like the crabs, eh? Push. If the crab's pushed, everybody get out. Don't pull. Learn to give and be in service to other people. And your first step is to become a giver, not a taker. So keep practicing giving, and that'll move us forward. Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Next thing, consciously practice gratitude. It's the attitude of gratitude. And your attitude is really, put simply, is you can either soar with the eagles or scratch with the turkeys. That's going to be what your attitude will be dictating, how you're going to be your bird life. I'll take the eagles. Anybody? Stop comparing. Anybody compare themselves to anybody else? Not a good thing to do, because you'll always do it one of two ways. Pick somebody that's far superior to you that you can never measure up to feel bad about, or look at somebody that'll never be as good as you and put them down so you feel better about yourself. Compare yourself only to yourself and where you've been and what you're doing. That's where you want to compare yourself to. I don't want to do that because sometimes I go 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Anybody do that? All the time. Well, every now and again I go 4 steps forward and 8 steps back. Anybody happen like that? That's because how energy works. Light moves like this. It doesn't go zip. It moves like that. It undulates. That's the nature of life. Drop I am jealous from your daily use. Get rid of jealousy. It doesn't do you any good at all. Don't matter what you're jealous of. It doesn't matter. Oh, I wish I had that money. Look at that money that they got. Blah, blah. You've heard that. Oh, they got it. They must have done something bad to get it, because only people that have money do bad things and all them kind of things. Eh? Stay away from jealousy. It breeds feelings of hate and resentment, and nobody needs that. Number 5, judge others. Don't judge others. See their light as an inspiration. So look at them for who and what they are, and don't judge them for that, because that's just the way it is. If they're in your relationship with you, you got to work with them the way they are and continue to be that person of gratitude and giving and not put any judgment on it. However, one has to always remember when you're being of service, there's a fine line between being of service and enabling. We have to find that line, because that's not healthy for anybody. And it all lies, what that means, your judgment all lies in your personal perspective. And the last one here, take action towards whatever you want in life. So what we've got to do is stop complaining, stop judging, stop watching the world go by. Dr. Hook's got a good song about that. He's called, I Got Stoned and I Missed It. I got stoned and I missed it. I got stoned and it went right by. He was talking about his life, because he just let it lapse, didn't do anything. Yeah, we got to take action. And the best example I could give you of this is the third thing that Jesus said. Knock, and the door will be open unto you. So he didn't say, well, I called my friend this morning and said I'd come over sometime today. So you went over a half hour later and you stood on their doorstep for 4.5 hours. And then finally, the person opened the door because they were going out. And they said, oh, we didn't hear you knock. Oh, I didn't knock. I've been just waiting here for you to open the door. Now, how many people would do that? Good. I'm in the right place then. No, we wouldn't do that, would we? And if you did that too many times, they might have you looked at. So why do we continually think that we don't have to do anything to get what we want? Yeah, people say I'm really lucky to be able to go do all that hiking as an old guy and all that stuff. I said, yeah, because I want to do it though. And there's lots of times I get up, I don't feel like going today, and that lasts till I get on the road, and bingo, it's, oh, come on. You know? You just got to go beyond that resistance. You got to know that you got to take action. And somebody says, well, how do I get through resistance? I'm going to tell you here, you heard it here first. The magic formula. There's only 2 words. And each word has 2 letters. It's called do it. Do it. And the last idea here, okay, so what if I'm the victim? What if I'm a victim and I got all these people victimizing me around my life? How do I step out of being a victim or feeling a victim? And Omar Itani says, if you're the victim, upgrade your environment and form a new tribe. And I've actually done that, by the way. I've actually done that. Okay? I traded my old gang for a new one. It was the motorcycle to the center. Any different? Basically, the bottom line for me, no. For the collective idea, I just changed the group. I changed my environment. And as I did that philosophy, I quit getting victimized by the police. Of course, I probably stopped doing things I shouldn't, but does that matter? No, it's just like that's the idea. So going forward in this journey together, we know that if there's more we want to be, do, have, and experience so that we reach that peace, prosperity, fulfillment, and happiness, then we got to be willing to do what we need to do inside and to be open and receptive to drawing other people in our experience that can assist us. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm okay walking in the mountains by myself. I don't have a problem with that at all. I've done that most of my life. But it's really nice to have someone else along to share that experience. And then together we have kind of a team because we could look after each other, have each other's back, stuff like that. So I go forward from here knowing for myself that, as I know for you, individually and collectively, that I have a willingness within me to experience a continually and growing community in my lives of like-minded individuals who are here seeking prosperity, fulfillment, and happiness in all areas of their life. I claim it, I know it's mine, I accept it to be so, and so it is, and thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Doug. Another powerful message. I'm sure we all benefit from it. Doesn't matter, we've been in ministry for a long time. We still have things we need to work on. 20 years ago, I thought, oh, well, now I'm a minister. In a year from now, I'll be perfect. There won't be anything left I need to do, right? Oh, yeah. Anyway, with that, let's turn to our green page again and read our prosperity affirmation together. As I am blessed with all the abundance that life has to offer, so I bless others through my giving ways. I give generously of myself, my time, and my treasure. I am a free-flowing channel for the gifts of spirit flowing to me, through me, and from me. I live in a state of thanksgiving, and so it is. So thank you, and if you choose to share of your abundance with our center, just drop your envelope in the basket up front, or if you're watching from your kitchen table or your recliner at home, you can always mail a check to the center or phone and find some other way of contributing. And we thank you for that. We thank all of you who have supported us so that through this time of COVID, we still have our doors open. Thank you. And our closing affirmation: this day I judge with righteous judgment. I recognize the good that I am, and I see the good in others. I learn to step back from words and thoughts of criticism and instead find ways to praise and support. I live in a state of unconditional love and acceptance of myself and others, and so it is. You know, when I wrote the set of affirmations for the 12 months of the year, I must have written that one knowing that you would be doing this particular talk, right? I think so. So just join me now in a closing spiritual mind treatment. I know the good of this day. I rejoice in it. I know that the good we have experienced here this morning, being together, sharing some hugs, sharing some wisdom, and simply being in this place that is our spiritual home, that we have grown and prospered. With loving thanks, I release these words, knowing it is so, and so it is.